Most people think that automated posting means no checks. That's wrong. With a tiny Telegram feedback loop, you have full control. By the end of this video, you'll have a workflow that drafts a tweet from your latest long-form video on YouTube and only posts it after you approve it. I use this exact workflow on this channel. Before going to each node and understanding what it does, let's look at a demo. So I'll execute the workflow. So in here we have is getting our latest YouTube video, starting to generate our X post. After the post is generated, is the most important part is going to start. So it's the feedback loop. And in here is where we're going to send a consent request. So our Telegram bot, we're going to wait for the consent. And if we approve, we're going to post it. But if we don't, if we want some feedback, we're going to start the refinement process and then so on until we accept everything. Okay, so the consent message was sent. So let's go to Telegram and we have here our tweet post related to our latest video on YouTube. And we can go ahead and see if we consent. So go ahead and publish on tweet, or if we reject, so we don't want to post anything and it will finish the workflow, or if we want some updates. So let's reply and let's say, remove the link at the end. So we replied, it's being sent. So it's starting to be processed. We clean up the chat. If we go back here, the refinement is running. So we received the response and we are now refining our tweet. So the tweet has been refined. And as you could see, this ran again, the consent task and send consent request. So we send again to Telegram a new message to see if we consent. And as we could see, the tweet was updated and the last link was removed. So in this case, let's actually reject it because I don't want to post without the link. And we can run later the workflow again and post it with the link. Now that we saw the demo, let's go node by node and understand what it does. So in the beginning, we just have the set defaults. So we have a manual trigger. In here, you can have it scheduled, but manual trigger works in this case. Then we have our config node. And in here, we're just configuring two things. So our YouTube channel, where we want to retrieve the YouTube videos, the Telegram chat ID, where we want to communicate with our bots. After this, we have the section where we get the latest YouTube video. And for this, we have three main nodes. The first one is where we get the channel videos, and we are just passing the channel ID here that we configured on the config node. After this, we get video details. So because we're going to need to filter by the long form video, so we need to have the details to see the duration. After this, we have a filter latest long form video. So in this node, we filter only the videos that are more than 10 minutes long, and at the end, we just return the latest. After having the latest video, what we do is that we're going to generate the X post. So in here, we have a sub-workflow that transcribes the YouTube video. So I'm going to show you this workflow. And this workflow is very simple. So initially, it tries to get the transcript from a data table. So, and if it's transcribed, we're going to return the existing. But if it's not transcribed, we're going to get the audio URL. So in here, I'm using Rapid API. Then we download the video URL using the generated Rapid API URL. And then we have a node that transcribes the recording using OpenAI. After this, we update in the data table our transcription. So here we're just passing the video ID, we're passing the audio URL and the transcript, so that the next run, if we rerun this, we don't have to use again Rapid API, so it's faster. And then we just return the result like we did it when it already exists. After we have the transcript, we generate our tweet. So here we have our AI agent that receives the YouTube video transcript and the YouTube video URL. So in this case, I'm also passing the URL because at the end, I always ask to put the URL in the tweet. And then we have our system message where I specify how I want my tweet to be built. Here we have our model that we are using, in this case just GPT-5 mini. And after this we start our feedback loop. So we have a set node here where we just specify the post, so the post that was generated, and the consent message to send to Telegram. Then we send this consent request. One important thing here to pass is that the reply markup we want inline keyboard. And then we have two options. It's either we consent and we pass the execution ID and true, or we reject and again we pass the execution ID and we pass false. So this is important for the callback later on when we go back and forth on the feedback loop. After we send this, we have a wait node. So as you can see here, the wait for consent only resumes on a webhook call. So it's not the normal wait that waits just for X amount of seconds. And I'm going to show you now how this webhook call is actually triggered. So we have this other workflow that its main job is to handle consent events. So basically the responses that we send on Telegram. So as you can see here, it's triggered on a callback query. So if we click the inline keyboard that we added, so the consent or the reject, or on messages. So if we reply. So then we have our consent data. So in here, we're just gathering fields that we're going to use later on the workflow. So the execution ID, if it's consented, the chat ID, the message ID, the event type, and so on. Then we have a router, depending on the type of response we did on the Telegram bot. So we either clicked on the buttons, so consent button, or we sent some feedback, so some audio recording or some text. To check this, pretty simple, we just look into the event type. If it's feedback, we go to the feedback. If it's a consent button, we go to the consent button path. In the case that's consent button, we just delete the reply message, so to clean up our chat, and we return the workflow. And in here is how we actually call this callback that's waiting on the other side. We send the post request to this URL that's going to have the execution ID. That's why we send the execution ID. And we send this information. So we send if it was consented and if there's any feedback. In the case that's some feedback, what we're going to do is that, so first we set the message because we're going to use it in the next nodes. Then we have a router to see if it's a voice or a text feedback. So if it's a text feedback, it's pretty simple. We just continue to the normal path where we delete the reply message and we resume the workflow. But if it's a voice message, we need to get the file. So we download the audio from Telegram. So we get the audio. And then we have transcribe recording. And in here is similar how we transcribe the YouTube video. In here, we are transcribing the audio that was sent in the reply message on Telegram. And as before, we delete the reply message. So we clean up and have a clean chat and we resume the workflow. So after resuming the workflow, we have again a consent router. And in here, there's three options. We either consented, so here we're going to publish. We either rejected, so nothing's going to happen and it's going to finish the workflow, or there's some feedback like we saw on the demo. So for this, we just look into the consent, so that we sent from the other workflow. If it's true, we publish. Then we look at the feedback. If it's not empty, we mean there's a feedback. And if it's consented is false, it means that it was rejected and we finished the workflow. Continuing in the case that there's some feedback, like we saw, we're going to delete the previous consent message because this was not deleted on the other workflow. So here, pretty simple, we pass the chat ID and the message ID that we want to delete. And then we have a refinement AI agent. So this AI agent receives the current tweet text and also the feedback to implement. So what we sent on the reply message. And as before, we have a system message where we explain exactly how we want the feedback to be applied. After the tweet is been refined, we do again the loop. We send the consent request and we wait again for the response. And after the response, we either publish, reject it, or feedback, and we go again into the refinement loop. I'm going to run now the full workflow, publishing at the end, and show you later on the X how it looks like. Let's go ahead and execute the workflow. So we set the defaults, we got our latest YouTube video, we got our transcript, we are generating now the tweet. So the tweet has been generated, it sends the message to Telegram. So in this case, we're just gonna approve it. So we consent. As you can see, the message was automatically cleaned. And we have here our latest node that creates the tweet. It was run. So we have here the message to my personal X account. So let's go ahead and open this account and see if it was posted. So I'm already here on my home page. I'll just refresh. And we have it here. The post has been published to tweet. On this video, we pulled your latest long-form YouTube upload, auto-transcribed it, generate the next draft, and wrapped it on Telegram callback consent loop so you control every published. If you want to use this workflow, grab the workflow down on the description and import it on your pipeline. And if you like this kind of automations and want to see more in the future, please subscribe down below and I'll see you on the next one.